Ever since my first survival world 14 years ago, snowy taigas have always been my favorite biome. There's something so cozy about setting up a cabin next to a frozen lake in the heart of a spruce forest. This is very unfortunate. Why? Winter biomes? What's the word for it? Oh yeah, they suck. Never again. This is entirely anecdotal, but I've never seen a whole lot of love for this area of the game. It sort of makes sense. Water turning to ice and snow covering anything 2 feet away from a torch gets pretty annoying. Oh, and if you wanted sand, too bad. The nearest desert is 5,000 blocks away when using chunk base, or 50,000 if you dare to explore naturally. I guess this is realistic, but I kind of preferred when the generation didn't factor in temperature. Now that biomes are much larger than they once were, players have never been more pressured to settle down in a temperate zone. Oh, and if you have any kind of flashy shaders enabled, your retinas are going to catch on fire. The lack of interest from the community seems to extend to Mojang as well. Can you guess the last major update to the old school winter biomes? 2 years? Maybe 4 years? I thought it was 5 or 6. No. It's been an entire decade since igloos were added. There's been a few minor tweaks, like the new mob variants, which I do like, but the issues that have accumulated over the years overshadow Grey Chicken. As an example, what in this picture looks wrong? I can think of at least 3. Ponder over this for a bit while I go on a side tangent. We're kinda spoiled for biomes nowadays. I'm really glad the developers have taken advantage of 1.18's technical advancements. Since then, 5 biomes have been added and only 2 of them are useless. I would love to see frozen caves eventually. On Earth, these are some of the most fascinating natural formations ever explored. In Minecraft, these could be quite challenging to navigate. Imagine jumping across a slippery gorge with ice spikes waiting below, or finally facing the ice illager in a new underground illager outpost. Throw in some powdered snow traps just for fun. This is not a new idea. There are mods, data packs, and so many forum threads suggesting variations of this concept. There would have to be some ore balancing to make coming here worth it. Otherwise it'll just end up like... Ow. Okay, you know what? Screw caves. What were we originally talking about again? Look at this photograph. Right. Thanks, John Nickel. Please don't copyright claim me. The first thing I noticed after coming back to the game were these firefly bushes. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad these little guys were finally added, but why are they here? Fireflies are deeply associated with the late spring and summer months in wetter climates. More impactful to ambiance, those bug noises they generate break the piercing silence you'd expect from a snow-covered forest at night. Maybe it's hypocritical to harp on realism in this situation, but this seems more of an oversight than an intentional feature. Maybe I should actually use that feature they beg us to report issues on. No. Back to the screenshot, all this foliage highlights a need for snow logging. Surely water logging was way more difficult to implement. It is a fluid with very particular mechanics. Snow is just snow. It's water that doesn't move. If you've ever walked through a forest after a blizzard, there's snow all over and under the trees. Not to mention how water is often the first to freeze and last to melt under shade. But here it's the opposite. Ice will never form under blocks, not even grass. I find this effect very unpleasant, but fear the visual style has become too ingrained in the game's identity for Mojang to change. It wouldn't be hard to fix though. We don't need state-of-the-art dynamic atmospheric fluid simulations. Just allow snow and ice accumulation under leaves, and you've made snowy taigas look much nicer. I'd go one step further by making it so exposed water freezes anywhere in frigid climates. There's no way that would piss anyone off.
5 Minecraft YouTubers who've sworn.
Oh, and please buff light source heating.
Right before we get into the video, we are doing a massive giveaway. What we are giving away is 30 iTunes Google Play cards or Minecraft gift cards, with the new winners every single day.
Alright, so I've made my thoughts on the OG snowy biomes perfectly clear. What about the others? Ice spikes were one of the coolest biomes added in the update that changed the world. Giant pillars of packed ice burst out from the snow-covered ground in strange, unnatural formations with no real-world equivalents. It brought a uniquely mystical vibe to an overworld which is, all things considered, fairly grounded. This place could be extremely hard to find, but players had a legitimate reason to journey here. This was once the only way to obtain ice that couldn't melt, allowing the creation of boat highways 4 times faster than the average horse. Unfortunately, yeah. Mojang added vast frozen oceans containing occasional veins of blue ice, nearly doubling the speed of boat highways. This place desperately needs an overhaul, but I'm honestly not too sure what could help. Maybe throw in the Ice Ledger, or heck, even Illusioner. Forming the spikes out of blue ice might help as well. Anything to help them escape the iceberg's shadow. Speaking of which, frozen oceans are next on the list. I like icebergs. They have a wide variety of formations, occasionally appearing as tall as mountains. I've seen a few jet up 60 or 70 meters from the seafloor. My only gripe is that perhaps they're a bit too common. The frozen ocean in my world stretches out as far as can be seen, obscuring anything that may be out there. Ironically, they're also very disruptive if you're traveling by boat. The flat ice sheet is broken up by occasional patches of water, making it quite inconvenient. I'm sure some redstone engineer out there could figure out how to make AI data centers in Minecraft, so we can melt some of these things. Alright, what's next? Snowy slopes are slopes of snow. Frozen peaks are sort of like land icebergs, but more berg and less ice. Jagged peaks are 100% berg and 0% ice. Finally, groves. At a first glance, you may assume I'd love these. They don't have the same issue with foliage and snow blocks cover most of the surface. But I don't know, up close this place can just be really ugly and boring. The singular dirt blocks scattered under trees don't mesh well with the rest of the textures, and the issue with accumulation still makes things look weird. Plus, as much as I'd like powdered snow as a mechanic, the sheer amount of this stuff everywhere makes it a miserable place to forget leather boots. Thankfully mine have a cursive binding, so that won't be a problem. I find groves to look and function best as the transitionary phase between regular and mountain terrain, with the spruce trees clinging on an increasingly steep incline. However, Minecraft will generate it all sorts of other ways. I often find groves on top of relatively flat hills or doing something gross like this. Instead of fighting with the engine, Mojang could create a plateau variant to replace some of the powdered snow with patches of grass. That would make it slightly less miserable in my eyes. I think that's about it for all the snowy areas. If you're wondering why I glossed over the mountain variants, it's because they're sort of their own thing and exist for different reasons. Also, I avoided speculating too much over entirely new biomes because I doubt they'd be included anytime soon. A winter oak / birch forest might be kinda neat. I'd like to have a sapling that spawns those dead looking trees. For the most part though, I would prefer if Mojang refined what they already have. What Minecraft needs most right now is a second leaf update. I'm interested to see how y'all relate to this video. Is there anything I missed or should have discussed? Do you disagree entirely? The next topic I want to cover will probably be more decisive. I logged into Bedrock to check for content parity. I think I'm gonna crash out.